This is the family where they brought me in 1941 when they kidnapped me. um, that's me in the middle. That's in 1943. I was probably 4 years old. I was born in 39 and kidnapped in 41 at age 2. This is my dad, Edward the Eighth, and this is Georgia O'Keeffe. My mom married my father, King Edward the Eighth. Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe was married to him in 36. When he was forced to abdicate, he never married this woman, American spy, Wallace Warfield Simpson. She married a double and imposter. They went to great lengths to assassinate my father's character and take him down. You had so many, the Roosevelts, you had people in my own government there. You had Winston Churchill. You had the Rockefellers and Rothschilds are your Freemasons, your Illuminati that control everything now, the global government. And this is Elizabeth, who is a part of it. Her father, George the Fifth, I'm sorry, that's my grandfather. George the Sixth is her father. He was an illegal monarch. He stole it from my dad and then helped kidnap me. And I've put up pictures of him with Roosevelt in 39 at the hot dog festival, they call it, at Hyde Park. And it got into a bunch of bigwigs that helped kidnap me. Joe Kennedy, I want to make a point. Joseph Kennedy was appointed ambassador to England. 36, watch the timeline till 46, they kicked him out. JFK, the son, flew in prior and during and after my kidnapping in 41. So now I want to go back over here. I wrote about mind control murders in Atlanta before I found out or remembered about my kidnapping. I was told, and then I could remember some. I was writing the book in 78 when Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I knew it was a mind control program shooting, and he even said that I knew who was responsible for his shooting in Atlanta, Marietta. He mentions Larry McDonald, who was a U.S. congressman, and I was a candidate. I'd written about him, and the book's unpublished because they almost killed me. But this was in June of 1984. I should know that. So what I wanted to get to here was, though, about the Kennedys. JFK, of course, I've always said JFK's shooting was a program shooting, just like Martin Luther King. And I want to try to get to this to show just a little here, because I'm not going to put much up. I'm having trouble with my phone. Obviously, you would know why. After I did the book, I had a letter from the FBI June the 23rd. That's my dad's birthday. Of course, this is 79. And ongoing investigation, national security involved. So then, April Fool Day of 80, I had antifreeze put in me, and I should have died. It was a miracle that I didn't. However, it was a mess. I went to the hospital for a tox screen to see if it could be neutralized, whatever they gave me, put in me, and instead it was a fiasco, and I put this up so I'm not part of it. I'm not going to put it up again. I ended up across the state line, Huntsville, Alabama, with this woman that killed her twins, Lina Dempsey. I showed you that family. So they stole my identity and gave me Peggy's, and she was dead. The mother killed both of them, I found out later, when I started finding out about my real name. Now I don't want to lose this. I worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, in the condition I was in. I went to work for him mid-May of 1980, passed a background check, Sheriff Patterson, and that's when John Lennon was shot by Martin David Chapman. Now then, it was like clues to my identity. The district attorney Simpson, of course, later when I could remember and found out about Wallace Simpson, it was a total lie. She married the double and they became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. But it was close to my identity when I found out. Like I was living at Warren House in 1980, and I lived there on through till I believe 81. Fall of that year, and Warren is like the Warren Commission that covered up the Kennedy assassination. They killed my father and mother. They did with what they did, and took everything from him. He was a king. They lied about him, everything, and they took his only daughter. And there was an addendum because he never meant to abdicate that made me heir. If he should have an heir, that it would not disinherit the heir. So the day I was born Queen Victoria, the second heir to the British crown. So my sons, Mark and Scott, in that order, would be monarchs, legal monarchs. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to. Why do you think they're so intent? Everybody loves Martin Luther King. He partnered with the Kennedys, and they did a lot about mental health that is horrible if it's ever told. They're not the good guys, but you know that. Martin Luther King did a lot for the blacks, but he also did horrible things that connected, because I'm a hostage, I still am. And he partnered with JFK, and of course they were the ones that kidnapped me. So they wanted South Africa and everything that the British had, and they even took down the monarch, my father, and then me. Now, I have told about that. Now, I'm going to skip because I was out at Flint's, and he furnished me a car for a year and helped me in the election, I ran for U.S. Congress first to replace Larry McDonald, whose plane had gone down. The KAL shot it down August 31st of 83. Now, I'd written about him and mind control. And the plane he's on goes down. And the pilot was a seasoned pilot. And he was veered into Russian airspace. Well, they're using mind control. And people... how do they know if they're under the influence of mind control? If they did and went to a doctor, it's so thought out. And like the Aurora, Colorado, it doesn't have to be group mind control or mass. It can be one or two, or make them appear that they committed suicide, like Robin Williams, etc., etc. What I wanted to get this up because I'm having trouble even getting the internet now. Suddenly, I wanted to put up about and just say this: I literally am. You can't tell the daily things that were done to me and my children. I hope they're told and everybody gets to watch what's been done to us. But after I left Flint's in the car, I was literally, I turned it back in. I was literally out on the street again, and it was horrible what was being done to me. Anyway, I ended up in Roanoke October the 20th of 86, and by the way, my mom and dad were still alive then. The double died in 72, and he was buried at Frogmore, Windsor Castle. My father and mother were still alive and together then in 86. So I ended up, because everything got blocked, deliberately kept homeless, a pauper. I was one of the wealthiest women born the day I was born. And look what they did to me, where they put me and did to me and to my children. But I ended up going quite simply to have a place to be up on the Appalachian Trail. I'm in Roanoke next to Virginia Tech, where that happened in April of 07, I think. But anyway, it was off Mountain Pass Road, the old trail. And I'm just going to say this, and that's all, or I won't get this up. It takes a long time, where it used to take 15 minutes to put it up on the internet. It takes all night long suddenly. Anyway, I went up there a couple of winters and I didn't have any money or anything, and I starved and froze. People were told not to help me, and I don't think they would have anyway. Because there's one gentleman who was very nice. He ran an Exxon station here, and he this a few times he'd have coffee or donuts out and offer me that. His wife was there one morning, and I never saw her again. And she said to me, she said, everybody around here knows what's happened to you, but they don't want to get involved. So I want to go to this. It was anybody around here knows the old trail off of Mountain Pass Road where the Crawfords live. It's going up toward the Blue Ridge Parkway. So that was the old one before the new trail up from near the post office and travel was built on Mountain Pass. It was built, I think, in the spring of '84. So this would have been '83 or spring. I can't remember. 93 is what I'm trying to say. 1993 and '94, I believe, is when the new trail there came up to the Full Heart Knob shelter. Now I was looking down. I had been up there, and let me clue you. Even with a backpack and food and a way to make a fire, you freeze up there. It's so cold. I've put a gallon of water out, and it'd freeze it in a heartbeat. So that tells you. But I had spent, I think, 2 winters on and off or most up there and just frozen. I looked down the old trail and coming up the high, there was the last incline coming up, and I thought, well, that looks like John Childers, that's my husband, JFK Jr., John. And he had this friend with him that was his sidekick, almost his best friend. They came up to the hikers shelter. They got spiders, snakes, you wouldn't believe it, in there. But that's where I lived when they would let me. Now then, they were coming up, and I said, well, you look like John Kennedy. And he said, well, I am. And he introduced his best friend there. They stood there for a few minutes and took their backpacks off. And he said something about he had food and peanuts they took out, and I believe it was peanuts and ate in front of me. And he said to me, he said, I assume they flew down. I think his exact words, that's been a long time, he said, we came down to see how we made you live. So this was a joke to him that he could take and fly all the way to Roanoke just to come up and make fun of me and gloat that his father kidnapped me. So I'm sure there has to be some record of him being here. I put it up right after he was here. Well, I didn't put it up. I sent letters and stuff to the press, and then later when I got YouTube and Facebook, I told about it. But this is the reason I